What's up, everybody? Steven Andrus here for TheLines.com with your Thursday night football preview for week number 14, the Las Vegas Raiders at the Los Angeles Rams. I'm filling in for Matt Brown this week. He's taking a couple of well-deserved days off in this matchup, and in this video, we are going to look at the odds for TNF. We are going to look at some of the promos that are out there at the sports books, including some risk-free same-game parlay options. I'll share with you how I am betting a couple of those same-game parlay risk-free promos. Also share with you a couple of betting angles I like in this one. And we'll look at the advanced metrics between these two teams because we have a couple of squads that are going in opposite directions as we head into the start of week 14. Of course, this one being played 8:15 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday night on Amazon Prime is where it is for Thursday Night Football this year. And if you go to TheLines.com under the NFL tab, you'll find the Thursday Night Football preview that will take you to our TNF page. And if you look under the betting odds, you can see as we record here Wednesday afternoon, mostly sixes across the board here for the Raiders on the road. Not much of a road trip, obviously, just going down the road to Los Angeles. And the Rams not exactly having a strong home field advantage to begin with. So sixes across the board here for the most part. There is one 6.5 with lighter juice at FanDuel Sportsbook. So that's kind of how we're hovering right now. If we look at the total for this game, we will see 44 and 44.5 for the most part. 44.5 juice to the under over at FanDuel, 44 juice to the over at DraftKings Sportsbook. If we look at these teams, right, the Raiders are on a 3-game winning streak after they lose to Jeff Saturday in his first game as Colts head coach. And they've completely rebounded. From that point on, Derek Carr has a nice emotional cry at the post-game press conference. And since then, they have rattled off 3 consecutive wins here. And not only wins, but winning in impressive fashion. They beat the Denver Broncos on the road. They beat the Seattle Seahawks on the road. And then they have a home win against the Chargers. And a couple of OT wins mixed in there. But I would argue they were rather unlucky to even have to play in OT. If you look at the yards per play metrics in these games, the Raiders outgained their opponent by more than a full yard per play in each of those 3 wins. Incredibly impressive. That's usually a sign of dominance by a team in most games. So they look really good. They have leaned into their 2-star weapons in Josh Jacobs and Davante Adams, who Jacobs is on pace to lead the league in rushing, has a chance at 2,000 total yards. Adams is on complete fire right now if you look at his game logs, and a chance to still be the leading receiver in the league. He's probably going to lead the league in touchdown receptions, and I will say this isn't one of the bets that I was going to talk about with this game in particular, but looking at Davante Adams at 50-1 right now to win Offensive Player of the Year might not be the worst lunch money bet at this point, considering how wide open that market seems to be. The leading receivers right now aren't guys that Adams it's still possible that Adams can catch up to those guys. And those guys at the top don't have a lot of touchdowns, where Adams is leading the league in touchdowns, tied with Travis Kelce. So we still got some time here, and those markets are very reactive, and Davante Adams at 50-1 to win that award isn't completely out of the question. But if we look a little bit more, getting back to this matchup against the Los Angeles Rams at some of the advanced metrics over the past 3 weeks in this winning streak for the Raiders, they are number 11 in success rate. They are number 9 in EPA per play. They are just as good rushing the ball, number 10 in rush EPA. They are near the top as well, number 8 in rush success rate. And if we look at the Rams offense by comparison, completely different story over the past 3 weeks. The Rams are 27th in EPA on offense, 28th in success rate overall. They have had trouble running the ball. Actually, I take that back. They are 12th in rush EPA. They are rush success rate. They are more middle of the pack. They're 12th in rush success rate, but the quarterback obviously in the passing game has been the issue for the Rams, and that really bad offensive line, 29th in dropback EPA, 30th in dropback success rate. So your eyes tell you exactly what the advanced metrics tell us, right? That this is a Raiders offense that is peaking and playing its best football of the season, and the Rams offense that can't figure anything out. It's probably going to be John Wolford again in this game, even though they just signed Baker, or they just picked up Baker Mayfield off of waivers from Carolina. But to get him in the game action on a short week, just having the playbook on the plane ride over from Charlotte to Los Angeles, I think is pretty unrealistic. If news comes out that Baker's going to play in this game, that makes me want to bet the Raiders even more. But I think despite all of those metrics I just said, this price of Raiders -6 is you buying the Raiders at their most expensive point, maybe in the entire season. This is a team that obviously has played well on offense, but they have not been a team that has won games by more than a touchdown or even a touchdown a lot this season. Even in this 3-game winning streak, 2 wins in overtime, and then a game against the Chargers where they win by 7 points. So this is, despite the yards per play metrics, they are not blowing teams out. And asking the Raiders of all teams to win by more than a touchdown, or to win by 7 points or more on the road, is a big ask. So I think the betting angle that I've explored and liked the most is a little unconventional. It's very unconventional, actually, but I'll share it with you. It's a quasi teaser, so to speak, here. And one of the more confident things I'm in this week, one of the more confident things I believe in for week 14 is that the Raiders will win this game, because that's how low I think the Rams have sunk at this point in terms of their offense. I do think they win this game. So a teaser or a parlay with the Raiders money line at -240 at DraftKings. And then if we go over to the week 14 odds board overall, I'm going to pair that Raiders money line with a teaser leg in the Baltimore-Pittsburgh game. So if we look at the blended odds here for that game, this is a total of 37. When we're looking for teasers, we're looking for traditional Wong teasers that go through the 3 and the 7. The Ravens with Tyler Huntley at quarterback are a poster child for that, especially with a total of 37. We've already seen these two teams play last year when Tyler Huntley was a quarterback, and again, it was a nip and tuck game, a field goal margin for the most part. I don't see the Steelers beating anybody, even Tyler Huntley, by more than a touchdown. So some kind of combination in whatever sportsbook you're using. Try a teaser leg with the Raiders spread and the Ravens spread. It should be -120 for a 6-point teaser. If it's more than that, you can go in and just click Raiders money line and then go to the alternate spreads for the Ravens and click +7.5, +8, +8.5, and you might get a better price than -120. For that one. So that's kind of how I'm playing this one in terms of a side or a total. I'm not going to take the Raiders straight up at -6. I think it's too expensive, but I think a teaser leg with the Ravens is a pretty solid option here. But let's get to same game parlays for this one. If you click on this link in the TNF preview, it'll take you over to our same game parlay promos for this week. And Brett Gibbons put this one together for us. And there are a couple of options here for same game parlays in week number 14 for Thursday Night Football. The first is at BetMGM. It's a risk-free 1-game parlay. If you go under the promotions tab in the app, you'll find it. You have to make sure you hit the opt-in button, and you have to have a minimum of 4 legs on your same game parlay. If one of those legs lose, then BetMGM will refund your 1-game parlay up to $25. So 4 legs. If only one of the legs lose, you'll get it back in free bets up to $25. FanDuel has a straight no sweat same game parlay. Go under the tab. Again, you have to hit opt in under the TNF SGP promo. The amount that is risk free depends on each person. You have to go into your own app, into your own account, and it'll tell you it ranges anywhere between $5 and $100 on the risk free. The only minimum requirements on this one are that it's at least 3 legs, and the total same game parlay is at least plus 400 odds. So once you opt in, you build a parlay for that. If it loses, even if it's more than 1 leg that loses, you'll get that back in free bets in your FanDuel account. And lastly, DraftKings has a profit boost for same game parlays. Just my personal opinion, I don't think this promo is as good as the other two, but you get a profit boost depending on how many legs you put into your same game parlay. That is also available at DraftKings. So the other thing you can check out in our same game parlay article here from Brett Gibbons is our prop finder tool to search around for props for Thursday Night Football. So we have the Davante Adams props here. Also check out Josh Jacobs, and those will pop up for TNF for all of his different stat categories. You can shop around, find the best odds. So and then lastly down here we have injury reports for both teams. We also have stats for Rams offense versus the Raiders defense and vice versa. So let's go back up to the prop finder tool here, and we have Josh Jacobs. And we'll start with him, and I'm going to give you guys a 1-game/same game parlay that I'm going to bet for both the BetMGM promo and also the FanDuel promo. Now, because the BetMGM promo requires you to only lose 1 leg to get it refunded, any more than 1 leg lost, and it's not going to be refunded, we're going to be more conservative on this one for a $25 one. So what I've put together here is a pretty conservative one, I think, to try and take advantage of this promo. And it's going to be Raiders money line, Davante Adams anytime touchdown, and then given the fact that Adams is on an absolute tear statistically, let me give you some context here on what he's doing. He has put together enormous numbers over the past 4 or 5 weeks here. Davante Adams has put up at least 120 receiving yards in 4 of his past 5 games, at least 7 receptions in 4 of his past 5 games, and 1 to 2 touchdowns in 4 of his past 5 games. The only opponent he hasn't done that against in terms of yards and touchdowns was Seattle 2 weeks ago. But that stretch from Jacksonville, Indianapolis, Denver, Seattle, and the Chargers, that's the kind of numbers he's been putting up. So that's who we're going to center on here for the MGM same game parlay promotion. We'll bring up his odds here, and I'll let you know how I'm building this thing. I'll go over here to MGM. So these are his normal prop totals here. But because we're building this in a 1-game parlay, we're going to be a little more conservative. Raiders money line, Davante Adams to score a touchdown, Davante Adams 6+ receptions, and Davante Adams 75+ receiving yards. You're going to get a little better than 2-1 on that $25 bet to win a little more than $50 profit. And if only one of those legs loses, we get it back in a free bet. And most of the projections on Davante Adams this week have him more along the lines of 7 receptions for 90 yards. So we're being pretty conservative here on his receptions and yardage for this game. So that's the conservative option. Now let's talk about FanDuel. FanDuel here, doesn't matter how many legs you lose, you're going to get it back as a free bet. So me personally, I like to take some swings here. I like to treat this basically as a lottery ticket. Maybe put $5 or $10 on a same game parlay. If I lose, I get it back as a free bet, and then put it on some futures or something. So this is more than 50-1 odds for the FanDuel same game parlay I'm going to do. And we're going to try some outlier stuff here. Try and hit some ceilings, given the fact that we know that the Raiders offense is on fire right now. They're playing a Rams team that doesn't have anything left to play for. And most importantly, their 2 best players are getting all the volume. Josh Jacobs and Davante Adams are getting all of the volume in this offense. It's kind of like the old days of the Steelers offense where Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown were getting all of the touches. It's happening again here with Jacobs and Adams. So we talked about Devontae Adams' statistics recently. Well, Josh Jacobs is on a tear as well. 3 consecutive games of at least 100 rushing yards. That includes 140 rushing yards last week and 229 the week before against Seattle. He has touchdowns in 3 of his past 4 games. So the shot in the dark, risk-free, same-game parlay over at FanDuel is we'll take Raiders alternate spread minus 5.5, get a little bit less than what the spread is at the moment. Josh Jacobs anytime touchdown. Josh Jacobs 100-plus rushing yards. Devontae Adams 125-plus receiving yards. And Devontae Adams 2-plus touchdowns, which you might think I'm crazy for, but he has done that in 3 of his past 6 games, score multiple touchdowns. And he's certainly getting the target share to do it. Here are Devontae Adams' targets over the past 5 weeks. 17, 14, 13, 11, and 12. He's getting fed. And I said 3 of his past 6 games. It's actually 3 of his past 5 games that he's had 2-plus touchdowns. That's more than 54-1 odds for a same-game parlay, and we'll take some shots here against a reeling Rams team that really doesn't have much motivation. So let us know in the comments what you are betting on for Raiders at Rams. Hopefully it gave you some ideas, let you know what these teams are doing going into this matchup. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Let us know in the comments what you're betting on. We hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. As always, you can go to the Discord button in the top right-hand corner of TheLines.com. Free community of more than 4,000 members talking sports betting every single day. It's awesome. You can go into the roll server, hit the emojis to get push notifications anytime anybody on our staff locks in a bet, whether it's the NFL or any other sport. So it's an awesome feature, and to make sure you're getting the best of the number anytime anybody on our staff locks in a bet. Thank you so much for watching. Best of luck on Thursday Night Football between the Raiders and the Rams.